Once upon a time, in the beautiful kingdom of Morrowind, there lived a princess unlike any other. Her name was Elira. While other princesses learned royal manners and attended grand banquets, Elira had a very unusual hobby. Every evening, she climbed to the top of the glass tower, the tallest tower in the kingdom. The tower was made entirely of crystal panels that sparkled in the sunlight. But Elira wasn't interested in the tower itself. She came for one thing: the sunsets. Every evening, she watched the sky transform into a masterpiece of colors: orange, gold, pink, purple, crimson. No sunset was ever the same, and every day she painted it in her special sketchbook. Not the mountains, not the castle, not the river, only the sky. Over the years, she painted 1,347 sunsets. Each painting had a single word written beneath it. Words like hopeful, peaceful, restless, brave, golden. Her father, King Theon, often shook his head. "Elira," he would say, "a princess should study diplomacy, not clouds." But he never stopped her. Because Elira's mother, the late queen, had loved sunsets too. Years passed. Then, shortly after Elira turned 17, something strange happened. Winter arrived, but it never left. Day after day, thick gray clouds covered the sky. The sun disappeared. The kingdom waited for it to return. One day passed, then 10, then 50, then 90. Still no sunlight, no sunrise, no sunset, only endless gray. The crops stopped growing. The river froze solid. The people became worried. Soon, worry turned into fear. Even the stars began disappearing from the night sky. One evening, the royal astronomer rushed into the throne room. "Your Majesty," he cried, "the stars are vanishing." For the first time, King Theon looked truly frightened. He sent brave seekers across the land to discover what was happening, but none of them returned. The kingdom grew colder, darker, and sadder. On the 100th day of grey skies, Elira opened her old sketchbook. For the first time in months, she slowly turned the pages. Then she began painting from memory. She painted sunset number 512, the one she called Defiant. Bright orange light breaking through storm clouds. Then sunset number 89, Brave, a thin red glow after a difficult day. Then sunset number 1301, Beginning. The sunset she painted the day after her mother passed away. As she studied the paintings, she noticed something remarkable. A pattern hidden inside the colors, lines of light, a pathway, a map. Elira's heart raced. "The sun isn't gone," she whispered. "It's trapped." She ran to her father and showed him the paintings. The king stared at the glowing patterns. "What does it mean?" he asked. "It leads to the cinder wastes," Elira replied. "The sun is there." The king frowned. "No one survives the cinder wastes." "Then I'll go," Elira said. The next morning, Elira began her journey. She carried only 4 things: her sketchbook, a lantern, a loaf of bread, and her mother's old compass. The strange compass no longer pointed north. Instead, it pointed toward where the sunset should be. For days she traveled across ash-covered lands. The cinder wastes were silent, empty, and cold. On the 3rd day, her food ran out. On the 5th day, her boots began falling apart. On the 7th day, she found something terrifying: one of the missing seekers. Or what remained of him. He had been turned into a stone statue, his face frozen in fear. Elira carefully touched the statue's hand. On its palm, someone had scratched a single word: "Look!" Elira looked upward and gasped. Floating high above the wasteland was an enormous palace made of clouds and shadow. Grey chains stretched from the palace down into the earth, and at its center floated a glowing sphere, a trapped sun, beating like a giant heart. Elira gathered her courage and approached. The palace doors opened by themselves. Inside sat a boy about her age. His eyes looked like an empty sky. His hands were turning grey like stone. "You are the princess who paints sunsets," he said. Elira nodded. "And you're the one who stole the sun." The boy looked hurt. "I didn't steal it," he said softly. "I saved it." Elira stared at him. The boy continued. "The sun was dying. Every year it grew weaker. People stopped appreciating it. They stopped looking up. So I brought it here to protect it." Elia looked around. "But the kingdom is freezing. The stars are disappearing." The boy lowered his head. "I know. I'm feeding the sun my own light to keep it alive. Every day I become more gray. Every day I become more stone. Soon I won't be able to save it anymore." Elira finally understood. This wasn't a villain. This was someone carrying a burden alone. "What's your name?" she asked. The boy hesitated. "People call me the Cloud Thief." Elira smiled. "I'm not asking what they call you." After a long silence, he answered, "Tiru." Elira sat beside him. Then she opened her sketchbook. "The sun doesn't become stronger when it's hidden," she said. "It becomes stronger when people see it, when they love it, when they hope because of it." She showed him one of her earliest paintings, a sunset she painted with her mother. Cyrus touched the page. Suddenly, color spread across his gray fingers. His eyes widened. "What is happening?" Elira smiled. "We're giving the light back." She carefully tore the painting from the book. Then she held it toward the trapped sun. Instantly, one of the gray chains cracked. The sun glowed brighter. One by one, Elira fed her sunset paintings to the light. Defiant, brave, forgiven, beginning, hopeful, peaceful. Each sunset made the sun stronger, and each sunset restored more of Cyrus's humanity. Hours passed, then days. Finally, only one painting remained. The very last page, painting number 1347. It was blank, labeled with a single word, empty. The chains shattered, the sun was free, but it still wasn't strong enough to return to the sky. Elira looked at the empty page. Then she picked up her charcoal and began to draw. She didn't paint a sunset. She painted a future. A bright sunrise over Merrowwind, children laughing, flowers blooming, people smiling beneath a colorful sky. At the bottom, she wrote one word, tomorrow. She held the page toward the sun. The sunlight exploded across the palace. Brilliant gold filled every corner. The cloud palace dissolved. The chains vanished. And everything became white. When Elira opened her eyes, she was lying in the snow. Cyrus was beside her, alive, human. Above them, the gray sky was breaking apart. For the first time in 107 days, a streak of pink appeared across the horizon. The sun was coming home. Together, Elira and Cyrus walked back to Merrowwind. With every mile, the sky became brighter, warmer, more colorful. When they finally reached the kingdom, people filled the streets. They laughed. They cried. They pointed toward the sky. The frozen river was melting. Green plants pushed through the soil. Life was returning. King Theon rushed forward and hugged Elira tightly. "You brought back the sun." Elira smiled. "We brought it back." She introduced him to Cyrus. The king studied the former cloud thief. Then he looked at the magnificent sky above. Orange, purple, gold, more beautiful than ever. The king bowed respectfully. "Welcome to Merrowwind." Cyrus smiled. Just Cyrus. Years later, Elira still climbs the glass tower every evening, but now she never climbs alone. Cirrus joins her. Using his cloud magic, he creates incredible shapes in the sky. Dragons, ships, castles, sometimes entire stories made from clouds, and every sunset becomes a celebration. Elira eventually filled another sketchbook, but on the first page of her newest one, she painted something different. Not the sunset, not the sky, but the faces of the people watching it together, because she finally understood what her mother once told her. Sunsets aren't beautiful because the sun is leaving. They're beautiful because everyone stops to watch it go together. And from that day onward, the people of Merrowwind never forgot to look up. The end. If you enjoyed this magical story, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel for more heartwarming adventures and fairy tales. See you in the next story.